500,000 naira, and that's
500,000 naira.
Yeah, that's the fine to Shooting Stars. Shooting Stars should pay that money for failing to control the officials. But
how much is he going to pay? He should pay some money.
I don't know.
Shooting Stars should get him to pay money.
Be funny. I'm just thinking to myself, this is supposed to be somebody claimed to be sane, right? And then we're talking about bringing our league to that level where we can compare the league to the one in Egypt, in Algeria, in Morocco. And these are the same people that will come out tomorrow and say the league is not developing. But you use your two legs, walk to the middle of the pitch,
two left legs.
I don't want to sound too he's an elderly person, particularly. So let's not sound a little insulting, but use your two legs, right? Walk towards the middle of the pitch for all places to urinate. It's absolutely crazy, to say the least. And I'm wondering how long has it been going on for before it was, because it was going on a picture. Somebody had to take the picture before the IMC had to act. What if nobody took a picture and all of that? Because I don't think this is the first time. The kind of confidence that man had to walk directly to the middle of the pitch to urinate shows you that he's been doing it for quite a while. But that's by the way. But with the IMC fine, I think it's justifiable suspension for 1 year for the man himself and 500,000 naira to be paid by Shooting Stars Football Club.
I think it's even embarrassing being in the media for this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
Someone gets to hear that an official for a club like Shooting Stars will be doing this. It doesn't make sense at all. But on the other hand, I think the fine is okay. 1 year suspension, 500,000. That's fine. Because you look at it, in better times, you don't even get to urinate by the side of the road. And not to talk of getting to the center of the field to do it. It's caught by a picture. It doesn't make sense. It's disappointing. I wonder what he'll be telling his children at this point. Or his family, come on, what you're doing at the center of the field? Urinating there. Why not pour at once? Let's know.
Well, of course, the crazy stuff happening in the NPFL. Well, it's a league filled with human beings. And one of the things that's got human beings involved, it's not bereft of drama.
Yes, I do.
And I hope this is a deterrent to every other individual planning to bring our league to disrepute, because we're trying to make sure that the league gets back to top status. And things like this are not supposed to be seen in the league. There's a story, Brydn, by the way, that the league is on a hold, a hiatus, till after the elections, general elections. And there's a story that in the second stanza of the league, that the league was going to be on TV, and that should be some good news for not just the fans but for the football players particularly.
Well, fantastic stuff. Don't want to mention things yet. I don't know what the outcome would be. But it would be good to have the league on TV. Some time ago, we had the league on TV. Agreements and disagreements here and there from both companies. And finally, got to a point. These disagreements took place, and we didn't have the league on TV any longer. But we're back. We're doing the best we can. I love what the IMC is doing, because Benga-led side is just exceptional.
I just think. Well, kudos to Benga and by the way, and his IMC committee particularly. But I'm just thinking, because this is not the first time we've seen these stories happen before. There will be so much hype and talk about the NPFL on TV, but it's either going to be an online TV or just one TV station in, I don't know, particularly, and then it never gets consistent. 6 match days and boom, they're off. So what's the guarantee and the assurance of some level of stability and consistency in our league being shown on TV?
Well, I think the biggest problem for the league has not just been about being on TV, having sponsorship. Because when you have to pay the TV crews and the people who are going to handle it, the company that's going to handle this TV positions and all that. And afterwards, actually TV rights for club sides to get to make something out of it, as we see in other climes in Europe. So TVs, club football, you're talking about image rights here and there, all over the world.
Well, at the stage where the league, the clubs are the ones in need more of some exposure, you think there'll be anything like TV rights?
Mariz, it's always going to be there. If you have to do something standardized, you have to do it standardized. That's the way it's always going to be.
Because the reason we've not had the concept of the TV rights is that these TV stations are going to come pay the club, to allow them, cast their games on TV, right? That should be the conversation. Now, between the TV stations and the NPFL clubs, who needs who more?
For me, it doesn't matter right now. It doesn't matter who needs who more. It doesn't matter. Let's do things properly from the very beginning.
Right.
Let's say, even if it's not huge rights, little rights, because there ought to be sponsorship first for you to be able to afford to put the league on TV, because you're going to pay money. Even if it's going to be by barter or whatever way they're going to do it. but they have to find a way to get around it and do that. Out with sponsorship deals. So now we don't know the extent of sponsorship. How much do we have in the cup? Yes, there was a time they're saying it was going to be 100 million naira in there. Are we sure of it? Who's sponsoring what? What's happening now? So these are the nitty-gritty and the details we have to look at and get to know in the long run. And in the long run, who gets to buy into the TV station? Because you can't tell me that the TV will always going to be free. Or moving forward, what's the package now? Moving forward, what will be the package? What will be there in all this package for the clubs as rights for their images being in display and all that? So in the long run, these conversations have to make the ideals of what we're looking forward to. But I'm happy that they're having the conversation, and I'm happy it's a beautiful thing. And most likely, I trust what Benga and the team are doing. Most likely, we'll see the league on TV.
All right. Well, the Flying Eagles will be gunning for to get back on track at the ongoing Africa the 20 Nations Cup as the trade tackles with host nation Egypt on March 22 later tomorrow. When we come back tomorrow, we'll talk about the game and what we should expect from the team.
Yes or no?
And of course, the trained earlier today, and of course, from the series of getting there was so much happiness in the camp, and the boys are preparing, and of course, a strong in momentum heading into that particular game. Well, Brydn, we'll just talk a little about the under 20 boys because we'll have no time tomorrow to talk about them. But looking at the performance against Senegal, it was a 1-0 loss. You think that that ambition of qualifying for the semi-finals is still very workable and feasible?
Surely it should be, but I know the Egyptians, North African side, quite difficult side, decent country to play football against.
Absolutely.
They know the nitty-gritty of football, have good leagues. Because when you look at youth football, it boils down to the level of your league, what you've been able to produce years and years, and the level of exposure. I think the Egyptians will be a strong side. But when you look at that first result against Mozambique, you know that they'll be serious against Nigeria, tougher opponent. To them, they had a bad result against Mozambique. Not saying Mozambique is a disadvantaged country in football, but here's the thing, Mari. I think the Flying Eagles, rather not Super, the Flying Eagles have a good opportunity to have a decent result because of age-group football. It would be all about raw talent and grit, what you bring to the table, and the ability for the wingers to move. First game it was the Senegalese stopping Nigeria's wingers from playing their game. I really hope that the coach gets to solve this problem moving forward. The Senegalese were quite experienced, having 6 players who were part of that Senegalese team that won the CAF Chan competition. When you have this level of experience, being part of the under-20 setup, then it's going to be tough for a lot of teams. But I expect the Flying Eagles to do decent moving forward against the Egyptians and probably also winning the Mozambican side.
Of course. Young man, do you take this young lady as your lawfully wedded wife? Yes or no? Yes, I do.
That was good. But this is now different teams, same clubs, different teams, different times. And so there's a history. In the last few years, one of us is kind of always in the final. That's how it feels at least. And usually, if you want to go to the final, it's always you have to kick us out or them. This time we play each other. So let's see who can go through.
All right, so Jurgen Klopp, the Liverpool manager, talking yesterday ahead of today's encounter as the team is going to be welcoming the defending champions of the competition. Talk about Real Madrid to the Anfield Stadium. Well, the story is quite interesting if you look at it from different fronts, particularly first up for Liverpool. It's a case of familiar foes, Liverpool and Real Madrid, serving off a repeat of last season's UEFA Champions League final when they renewed the hostilities at Anfield Brydn later today for the first leg of their last 16 tie. Jurgen Klopp's Wards particularly placed second in Group A behind Napoli to set up a reunion with the holders, who defeated Celtic, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Leipzig to first place in Group F. Well, Vinicius Junior's winner and Thibaut Courtois' sensational string of saves dominated the on-field talk in last year's final between Liverpool and Real Madrid. The contest at the start of France will forever be overshadowed by the harrowing scenes of red supporters who were quite not treated well at the gates, but that's another conversation. According to Team News Brydn, it's interesting to see what's happening with this Liverpool side in the last couple of games, particularly how they've been able to suffer from poor form. They've won the last 2 games, so some level of confidence for this Liverpool side. But for team news, the story is a Liverpool success over Newcastle at the weekend came at quite a cost, as Darwin Núñez was forced off just before the hour mark with painful shoulder injury, and he will undergo assessment in the coming hours to determine his availability for Liverpool later today. The Uruguayan was seen in training on Monday, but should he miss out, Diogo Jota and Roberto Firmino would engage in a fierce battle to complete the attack, and the former may win the head-to-head if Klopp opts to deploy Cody Gakpo certainly again. Well, Luis Diaz, Ibrahima Konate, Thiago Alcantara and Calvin Ramsey make up the rest of Liverpool's confirmed absentees, while Arthur is still a doubt, recovering from a thigh problem since joining from Juventus. Well, Brydn, before we talk about Real Madrid's team news, so Liverpool have been enjoying some fine form, particularly they've won their back-to-back games against Everton and, of course, against Newcastle. This team would be a true test of if they're really back on form, right?
Surely it's going to be decent side, especially in recent times, the last 2 games. I want to see how they recover against Newcastle United. Saw the game against Everton, which they won at, I think it was at Anfield. Yeah, it was at Anfield.
Yeah.
So decent comeback it was, decent 2-0. But it was all about the game at Newcastle, especially when you say you've had some of your players return from injury. So let's box them up and see how they can do against a decent Newcastle side. And they had that result. Cody Gakpo was scoring for a second time in the Premier League, and then David Núñez, he's not been on the score sheet. He was able to do that in the day. Yeah. But here's the thing. When you look at all the players that are back for Liverpool, you expect Liverpool to be solid, decent, and show dominance. And I love the fact that their coach seems to be talking big these days. Jurgen Klopp, talking and full of excitement. He did say if it was a month ago or thereabout, it could have been a difficult game for them.
Absolutely.
But it's happy now they're going to face Real Madrid and such quality and expectations. But the problem I have with Liverpool is it could just be a flash. Don't be overexcited. The form issue could be logging around, difficult moment for them. And let me say what I said in the morning, Mariz, though you weren't quite happy about it, because you look at it, the last time they met Real Madrid was 9 months ago in Paris, which Madrid won.
Yeah.
And this days in Anfield, before now, it used to be, you never walk alone in Anfield. This is, the slogan, you never walk alone, holds no water. It seemed like one of those Davido's track songs these days. Like,
you have to say it again.
It just seemed like a line in Davido's track. Never walk alone.
All right.
No impact.
I would actually sit here and let you talk down on my fave.
No, but I'm not talking down on Davido.
Yeah.
Davido is quite a popular lad.
Definitely.
I'm talking about the situation in Liverpool.
Yeah,
could be any line in the song. Come on.
All right. Well, I agree. I agree that the video songs are popular, particularly.
Yeah.
So that's why you like it in them too. You never walk alone. But then that man is. I don't want to get to that conversation.
No, it has nothing to do with Davido. The conversation is about Liverpool.
No, but let's just digress. Who's your best Afrobeat artist, Brydn?
Difficult for me.
Davido, Whiskey, Burna Boy right now for me.
Oh.
Who takes it for you?
That's the 3?
Yeah, the 3.
I think you should mention one of that. There's one I like. What's the name now?
A lady?
No, he's a man, a guy. What's the name? I'll get to remember.
I'll give you 5 minutes to remember the name.
Okay.
But it's the video for me. All right, so I gave Brydn 3 minutes, and Brydn has finally remembered his best artist. Brydn, what's his name?
What's the name? Is
Omale,
Omale, yeah. Let's say, he loved me when I know.
Brydn, you can sing.
No, I can't sing, no problem. That's the song that attracted me to the lot.
Oh, I see. Nice. All right, so we're still talking about Liverpool, particularly the game later today against Real Madrid. Brydn, Madrid too have not been quite decent. If you look at the performance, they're losing grounds gradually to Barca at the La Liga title chase, particularly. But they're a whole different team when they play at the Champions League. They were not favourites last season, remember? They went past the test of PSG, went past Chelsea, went past Manchester City, and saw Liverpool in the final and defeated Liverpool in the final. So they have a different mentality when they play in the Champions League. What kind of Madrid should we expect later tonight?
Well, I think it'll be a decent side. Had got some worry for Madrid some time ago, especially when they moved to the World Club Cup. Finally, they won it. They're world champions, but they're back. We know it's the Champions League. Madrid always get to find a way, especially the young lads that are ready to play the game. The likes of Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr., my favorite Real Madrid player. I think Benzema wouldn't be part of this mix. Might not. Let me not be so certain.
Yeah, we'll talk about team news.
Might not get to be part of this mix, but we get to understand which player is turning up and who's not. The likes of Tchouaméni might not turn out to this party, as well as Toni Kroos. But decent Madrid player, Camavinga, will be part of it. The big man, Modric, Ballon d'Or winner, will be part of it. So you expect a difficult side to play against Liverpool side.
No.
But the strength of Madrid for me, it's all about the wing play. If you can stop them from the wing, then you can stop Madrid. Yeah. Vinicius Junior on one hand, Rodrigo on the other hand.
Yeah. Let's talk about personnel, particularly in tactics, because you look at Liverpool, they've got weaknesses. You know, one big conversation heading to this game has been the battle between Vinicius Junior and Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's not been the best of right backs, and then Vinicius Junior is explosive through that flank. So how did Liverpool be able to put off the heat and the fire that will come through that flank with Alexander-Arnold as right back?
Well, big concern for Arnold. He's experienced it before, especially at the Champions League final. So likely he'll realize what. But I expect Jurgen Klopp to do some things about the midfield. The midfield is helping the fullbacks to do the magic. The strength of Liverpool is always that overlapping play from the fullbacks. It might not just be necessary for them to do that, but the bulk of the work for me would be on the midfielders who are going to support the fullbacks and be resolute in the middle. If they can do that quite well, then they can stop Madrid from having their free-flowing football. But if they cannot, then they'll have themselves to blame. But I think Liverpool are decent enough to face Real Madrid in this particular game, especially short-handed Real Madrid.
There's been lots of battle, Brydn. Before we talk about all of that, let's talk about Madrid team news. Real Madrid may be sweating, particularly over the fitness of Karim Benzema, like Brydn said, after he was left out of the clash with Osasuna due to muscular fatigue. And but Ancelotti is expecting the Ballon d'Or winner to have fully recovered for Tuesday after enjoying a much-needed rest. In more pressing matters, key midfield duo of Tchouaméni, Toni Kroos have both been suffering from illnesses, and they might be out to this particular game. Both players have been left out of the squad. So Eduardo Camavinga, Dani Ceballos ought to join Luka Modric in the triumvirate. Now, there's also a conversation, Brydn. The battle, the different battles expected in today's game, and one key battle is a battle in the middle of the park for Liverpool and Real Madrid. For Liverpool, it's about Thiago Alcantara, who might miss this particular game. He's out of this game. So it's going to be Fabinho, Stefan Bajcetic,
Henderson.
And Jordan Henderson, particularly. For Real Madrid, it's going to be Luka Modric, Eduardo Camavinga, and Dani Ceballos. Which midfield wins this game for you? Because we know games are won in the middle of the pack.
I think Liverpool has a better midfield. Fabinho, decent midfielder for me. Are you talking about Henderson? He's been around for a while. A lot of Liverpool, especially, I've forgotten the name now, one of them has been clamoring for Jurgen Klopp to start that particular midfield. I think it will be time for them to see how the midfield will cope with the likes of Camavinga as well as the big man Modric.
Yeah.
For me, it's just about stopping the intelligence of Modric. So you need decent defensive midfielders to do that. But on the other hand, it's going to be a balanced game beyond the midfield. For me, the midfield from both sides isn't that fierce. The battle is who gets to prevent the wingers from a Madrid point of view.
So where do you think the game is going to be won today?
Yeah, from Madrid's point of view, the wingers, they're the deadly ones for Real Madrid. But for Liverpool, always having a decent Liverpool side win is when the fullbacks for Liverpool join the attack. If they can suppress Madrid such that Alexander-Arnold can join attack, Robertson can join attack, then you expect a decent Liverpool side and probably who will show dominance and go all out and win it. But for me, it's a little here, a little there. Asensio has been in fine form in recent days, especially when drafted into the middle to do the magic for them. Yeah. And I think the coach, Carlo Ancelotti, will go with Asensio to start this game, and it might just be the defense for them.
Well, of course, the result of this particular highly anticipated first leg may very well hinge on how many players Klopp and Ancelotti can recover from the treatment room. But an exciting Hollywood showdown is promised on the cards later tonight. 090-222-31011 and 624-8565. We're taking calls right now. We're getting predictions for the game later tonight at Anfield. Liverpool welcoming the team that lost in the final of its competition to last season. Hello, good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, sport analyst. I remain Mr. Easy on the line.
All right, Mr. Easy, go ahead.
Let me quickly bring out my statistics. As long as this Liverpool game is concerned, and I did not quite impress for the performance Liverpool have put against their last match with Newcastle United for the past weekend. The performance did not inspire me. I think if Joaquin Klopp want to get something in this very game, he should drop this new Spanish guy, because what I saw against Newcastle, that guy do not fit in Newcastle midfield, and the kind of the physicality player that the Newcastle were exposed to him. So I see the same thing against Real Madrid. Joaquin Klopp would rather bring in somebody like Keita or even Milner with experience in Madrid midfield. That's my take for now. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Easy. Well, of course, one game is supposed to go down to later today. Having blitzed their way through the group stages, Napoli returned to the Champions League action on Tuesday when they visit last year's Europa League winners Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany. While the Serie A leaders cruised through the last 16 by winning their first 5 matches, the hosts fought back to get second spot in Group B, and that's the story. We'll talk about Napoli and Eintracht Frankfurt after the score. Victor Osimhen, the main headline. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, this is Daniel from Uyo.
Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. Please, I just want to know, is Arsenal not playing a Europa match? Because I remember they
had a bye into the round of 16.
I said, is Arsenal not playing Europa match?
Arsenal,
they finished up on
this is a round of 32. Arsenal had a bye into the round of 16.
The Europa was the playoffs.
Yes, the playoffs, particularly. So after this round of games, the winners would face, one of them will face Arsenal.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Don't be scared. Right, so Brydn, Eintracht Frankfurt, Napoli, an interesting encounter expected to later tonight. Not only have Napoli stripped clear of the park in Italy this season, thanks to a series of ruthless displays from likes of Victor Osimhen, they are now looking to get the first Scudetto title since 1990. But of course, this is not the Serie A. This is the UEFA Champions League, and form is often thrown out of the window.
Well, the beauty of it is both teams are decent. That's the way I said. Napoli, seemed the favorite in both legs, but this particular game, they're not pushovers. Talking about Eintracht Frankfurt. I saw Eintracht Frankfurt last season. They went to Barcelona, got a result. In that group, in the Champions League, had some decent result, gave Tottenham Hotspur a run for their money. Tottenham couldn't beat them at home. And it speaks volume. Yeah, you might say Tottenham might not be at the same level with Napoli, but it's basically what it is in football. It's going to be a home game for Eintracht Frankfurt. Quite difficult for Victor Osimhen and the lads, but we always know, somewhere, somehow, if the gods of football are with you, when I mention God of football, not a real God this time, it's the form that you are I'm talking about. And Victor Osimhen seemed to have that in favor of him. It could just be the difference for the side, but it's going to be a thrilling game. Kolo Muani is part of that mix for Eintracht Frankfurt. Really want to see how he'll turn up in this particular game. Big game matters. That's where big players are born.
Good afternoon, Tom. I'm going to welcome. We'll talk about team news after this batch of calls.
Mariz, tomorrow 6 p.m., Flying Eagles against Egypt. It won't be easy for the Flying Eagles playing the host country. And the most important aspect is Egypt have lost their first game, likewise the Flying Eagles. Therefore, the two teams, Mariz, they need a win. Then, Mariz, I have heard Landy words of saying the Gears improve game by game. He's a dreamer. He's not bringing anything good into the team. Other teams in Africa are taking center stage. It's high time we need a new coach to take the Super Falcons to the World Cup. Even an interim coach can do it. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so Brydn team news, according to the Physios this afternoon, despite his team's win over Werder Bremen over the weekend, Oliver Glasner, the coach of Eintracht Frankfurt, could make at least a couple of changes on Tuesday night, as he has an almost fully fit squad available for selection. Eric Dina Bimbe, that's his name. He's still sidelined for this particular game, sadly. But there are no fitness concerns for Eintracht Frankfurt, who are likely to bring in the likes of Smolcic, Aurelio Butia to face Napoli. Smolcic, though, is one of the 3 men facing suspension for the second leg, should they be booked again. Now, Randall Kolomwani is going to be the key man for them. He's had 10 goals and 10 assists blighted in this season for Eintracht Frankfurt so far. Well, the visitors, Napoli particularly, would be brimming with so much confidence when they have Victor Osimhen in their side. Osimhen has scored in 7 consecutive Serie A games. He's got 18 in 19 in the Serie A this season, and they'll be banking on his prolificness later today. Well, clearly, this is a clash of attacks. Brydn, Randall Kolomwani on one side, Victor Osimhen on the other side. Who wins it for you?
Well, let me start with Kolomwani. I love the fact that he's got 10 and 10. That makes perfect record. 10 goals, 10 assists. It stands out clear. But you look at the numbers on the other side, quite high. In Serie A, Victor Osimhen 18. But Ascalia has got about 18 assists too.
Yeah.
Speaks volume about the quality in the team. Not just about one man, but a collective play. Have some decent player. Aguiza being part of that mix. They ought to be careful not to concede first, because if they do that, it could be difficult for them to recover moving forward. But Victor Osimhen always going to be the marksman. Quite explosive. Ascalia being similar to him too. Quite explosive in pass giving. That vision you could think of. I think at the end of it, maybe a slight victory for Napoli. A slight victory for Napoli.
Oh, good afternoon, Victor. Welcome. Hello, Victor. All right, do you want to call us back? Oh, Brydn, looking at Napoli and the way they've performed so far, so good, that they clearly look like a team that are ready to take the world by storm. And every UEFA Champions League season, we're always seeing a surprise package, at least one in every single season. You think Napoli are the surprise package of this particular season?
Well, I can say, but I'm worried for Napoli, because it will always boil down to what you want the most. Look, the end of the Champions League, do you have the capacity to win the Champions League? Because the Champions League is a different ball game compared to Serie A. Or you want to concentrate and win the Serie A. I think Napoli have to get to that point where they choose that, if it's the Champions League or the Serie A. Because it wouldn't be good if you have top players getting injured in the Champions League. At the end of it, you won't win it. And you back home, you're also not winning the Serie A. But I expect Napoli to give a good account of himself moving forward in the Champions League. Decent side, especially when he top a group that had Liverpool in it. Liverpool had some deep in form, no doubt, but Napoli has been quite excellent this year. And looking at some other top teams in Europe who could be part of teams aiming to win the Champions League, probably Bayern Munich being part of that mix. Well, I can't mention Chelsea.
Where'd you place that? But let's not talk about Chelsea. Come on, we talk about Chelsea, by the way, but no disrespect to Graham Potter and the boys. But you look at the teams participating in the competition right now. You don't look at current form. You want to look at quality and how they've performed so far. You want to talk about City and all of that. Where do you place Napoli in that pecking order?
Wow, quite hard. After looking at the group stages of a game, I think Napoli are in the top 5.
Right, so let's look at the teams that are still in the competition, right? You know, there's PSG, there's Bayern Munich, there's AC Milan, there's Tottenham, there's Club Brugge, there's Benfica, there's Dortmund, of course, there's Chelsea, there's Liverpool, there's Real Madrid, Eintracht Frankfurt, there's Napoli, Leipzig, City, Inter Milan, Porto.
All right,
top 5.
I'll pick City in no particular order. Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, Napoli. That's number 4. Who am I missing there? PSG. I had mentioned Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, Napoli, Real Madrid. I think that those are the top 5.
All right, that's it for you. Let's hear from this caller. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Arizona and Brydn.
Welcome.
Yeah, this is Pastor Chief Sylvester calling from Uyo.
All right,
Man
Pastor.
United.
It's weird calling me on Tuesday. I think you're supposed to call on Thursday.
Okay.
But go ahead. You have the floor now.
What concerns me is what happened in the shooting Nigerian Premier League, the shooting star game, the man that be on the middle of the pitch. You know, this thing, anyhow you will look at it, this thing have a spiritual coloration. It's very diabolic. Don't let anybody try to meander it. it is very diabolic. It is spiritual. We know all these things. So
right.
It is very good. It is very good the way the league management is punishing all this team that is doing this thing. They thought it's business as usual. It is no more business as usual. We want our league to be the best, and I like what the present leadership is doing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Please call me back on Thursday. Thank you. Well, action continues later tomorrow. By the way, Leipzig welcome Manchester City, and of course, Inter take on Porto. We'll talk about that after this batch, of course. Good afternoon. Welcome. Hello, welcome. Good afternoon. Please talk to us. We can barely hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to say hi to you.
All right. We didn't get your name. Please tell us your name again. All right. Please still want to call us back if you can. Thank you very much. Well, Brydn, I'm trying for give me a score line, and where do you think this game will go?
2-1 in favor of Napoli. 2-1 in favor of Napoli.
All right. His best job was Brighton. His best job, his biggest job.
I thought it was a job for one.
No, his biggest job was Brighton and Hove Albion. Brighton, then you bring him to Chelsea. That's 2 notches forward. And then he comes in, Mid-season, that's one. Mid-season, he doesn't have enough time to, communicate with the players, try to help them integrate with the current squad, and then you don't even let him stay there. You bring in 15 new players in mid-season, in between the season for him. So how much time? Because in between the players are bringing in, games are going on, competitions are going on, and then he's not had time. I mean, ample opportunity to sit with these players and watch them on a lengthy period to understand their abilities and come up with a system that could work for them, because there's really no time. And then right now you want him to be sacked. What do you want him to do? Perform magic with your 15 players? You brought him mid-season. He never had pre-season. So what are you expecting a man like Graham Potter to do at Chelsea?
Let me talk about this school of thought, because this school of thought doesn't make sense. It's a thought pattern of failure in football. Here's why I'm Arizona.
Yeah.
Not to kill anybody's opinion, but here's the thing. I'll ask a question first. What does preseason do for teams and coaches?
Here's the thing, Brydn.
It's just to warm up, have a shape.
Not just that.
No,
not just that.
Let me.
Preseason helps you, to find out. You may have a plan A, but preseason helps you to have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D.
No,
some systems.
Mari doesn't.
But that's the truth.
Mari, let me show you something.
Yeah.
Remember Eric Ten Hag had a decent preseason.
Yeah.
Started the league, boom, things changed. What changed for Manchester United? The players that came from Manchester United who didn't participate in preseason. That was the difference. Casemiro, Anthony. Many people would say Anthony is not the best of them.
Now, it took preseason. It took preseason for, what's his name now? Eric Ten Hag to pinpoint where he needed reinforcement. He was pushing for Frankie de Jong after preseason, remember? He was pushing for Frankie de Jong because
Frankie de Jong has always been in the conversation.
He needed somebody in that midfield to act as a cover.
Mari, here's what preseason does. Let me just shape it up.
Yeah.
Here's what preseason does. Preseason is not intense. It's usually a warm-up game. Remember, players have had a lengthy season, so afterwards the rest in the summer.
Yeah.
Went to their families. So it's just trying to keep you in shape ahead of the season. But you've rested for a while.
It also affords the
Let me just finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
This is where a coach gets to know more about the players. In the real events, the big event, the matches, preseason don't tell you how good a player is, Mari. Because those matches are friendly matches. They're not real intense matches. The matches that tell you how good a player is, how bad a player is, where to really work on.
It gives you a chance to try out stuff, experiment a lot of stuff.
It's called season, Mari.
Understood. But you can experiment a lot of stuff.
You experiment nothing, Mari.
Really?
It's friendlies.
No, I understand it's friendlies, but you have a chance to experiment.
This is why I'm asking. What are you experimenting? Look, when you're playing the real game, there are 50-50 challenges. In preseason, there are basically no real 50-50 challenges. So what are you experimenting? It's a warm-up sort of tournament. So you go to Dubai, have some good time under the hot sun, and your team are playing. Because they've stayed out for a long while and not playing, trying to get some level of match fitness in preparation to the season. And you look at it, teams will have a decent preseason, the season starts.
All right,
they're terrible.
Let me
just narrow it down.
Bring the conversation home. Graham Potter and Chelsea. Let's bring it home, Brydn. The context of preseason particularly, what you're saying that
it's of no use. That's it with Graham Potter. There's no need for a conversation of preseason. The best way to know your players is you played against Southampton. How many games has he got with Chelsea so far? I can understand the concern of having new players in the January transfer. 8 new players in the January transfer coming in. I can understand that a bit.
25 games he's managed Chelsea. He's used 32 players.
It doesn't matter.
What does that say?
It shows that he doesn't understand what he wants.
It shows that he's not had enough time to find out a system that works for the players.
No. A coach does not need so much of a long time to find out a system that works. In a match, all you need to do is... What do you do?
You watch Mikel Arteta. You realize that they play a different system this season, right? A different system from last season and then his first season.
He didn't learn it from preseason.
No,
he learned it from proper matches.
The point is patience.
No. See the point about Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta wasn't just a man that came in and did random stuff.
Yeah.
From the sideline, seeing Mikel Arteta pace around, he's determined. You could see the desire. It started from his conversation when he took over at the helms of Arsenal. What was the first thing Mikel Arteta said? I remember us having that conversation on TV. He said he wants to change Arsenal to a team that can win the Champions League, and we all have time on TV, isn't it? But we've seen the progression. Went on to win the FA Cup.
Right.
Mikel did that. Won the FA Cup. Defeated Chelsea.
So Graham Potter should stay or go.
What's he staying to do?
All right, let's hear from
clueless.
Good afternoon, Arizona.
All right, Victor. Your Potter, we're talking about him.
And others in the studio, Arizona. What a great champion it would be tonight. Let me say that the fans in their prospective clubs are really have their moment. It's really nice for them because it is serious grip. So, well, better than to come. So, let me say for Napoleon, Victor, Osimhen, Liverpool, Real Madrid, I wish the team all the best. That's my thing. Thank you, Papa.
All right, thank you very much. We're streaming live on Facebook too as we speak to you. The story is that we have two comments from the live feed. Joseph Sabero, been following the conversation, says Chelsea will come good at the end of this season. At the end of all of this, rather. I'm too convinced. Please, if Randy Waldrum doesn't win the last game, NFF should fire him. Jeremiah Kerete says Jose Mourinho has won 26 trophies as a manager in his career. Bring back Mourinho. Hello, good afternoon.
Yo, Mr. Izzy, again.
Right.
I want to comment on the issue of Tom Bolly insists that Crying Potte should remain on the club as his manager. I think it's a welcome development. I like it that way because the owner of things do things on his own way. So the Chelsea fans should exercise patience. If they cannot support Chelsea again, let's come to Liverpool and support the Red. That's my take. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much. When Security comes through with a second comment and says, please talk comparing Arsenal with Chelsea. We are a winning club with the culture mentality of winning trophies at least once every 2 seasons. You made this comment yesterday. Good afternoon, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Arizona. It's Pastor Chief again calling back.
All right, basketball.
I want to lend my voice with the argument in the studio. You know, the problem of Chelsea, like Brydn has rightly said, a good coach who has a pedigree does not need too much time to bring out results. Just look at what our coach is doing. He didn't need all those time to bring out results. This is a problem. When you back to David Moyes, this is the same fate we were suffering. So he does not take any good coach, a coach with a pedigree. He does not take them time. Look at Guardiola now, or look at Klopp. It doesn't take them anything to gel. So that's my take this afternoon. Thank you
Thank you very much. Pep Guardiola Brydn in his first season 1-0 at City. Jurgen Klopp in his first season 1-0 at City. Mikel Arteta in his first season was disappointing. So
no,
why
he wasn't?
Well,
Arteta wasn't.
To certain quarters.
No, he wasn't.
To certain quarters. A lot of people believe because
Klopp wasn't disappointed. Got to the Europa League finals.
Well, never won anything.
He doesn't understand anything. They're buying all these players. He doesn't even identify what the problem is. When Klopp came to Liverpool, you could see the trajectory. Game after game, they were improving. You could see the pointer to where they're going to. And finally, we've seen it. Mikel Arteta, we saw the progression. Arsenal looked sharper. They didn't look confused under Mikel Arteta. And finally, they won the FA Cup, beating Chelsea to do that in the long run. Pep Guardiola, we can mention the names. Decent coach, came in, you could see the projection there. But Graham Potter, first question I could ask anybody, and many Chelsea fans would ask, what is Graham Potter's style of play? Confused.
09022231011 and 081762485565. Well, after all this talk, is Graham Potter stays. Well, the final question, right? How low would Chelsea go before Todd Boehly thinks of sacking Graham Potter?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he has the patience, but I do not know Americans to be men of patience. That's the thing for me.
This man has been patient. And then he's actually alluded to the situation at Arsenal. He said, according to the statement, that they want to be patient, with Potter, same way Arsenal were patient with Mikel Arteta till he took Arsenal from where they were to where they are right now.
Well, the difference is two difference for both coaches.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta came in and said, I want to make Arsenal a championship-winning club. And we all laughed when he said it, but we're seeing the progression. But we have Graham Potter who says, I'm not sure I'm the problem. I don't know what the problem is, but let's see how it goes. Two different mentality.
Good afternoon, welcome, football fan.
Hello, good afternoon.
Ezekiel.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, welcome. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. This is Ian calling from Calabar.
All right, go ahead.
I just want to throw into what my brother in the studio just said. If you look at Mikel Arteta, I'm a Chelsea fan. If you look at Mikel Arteta, you discover that in the next season, Arteta is going to become the best coach in England. I take from what he did last with Jorginho. If you remember, we have about 3 coaches who have coached Jorginho in Chelsea. No one stopped Jorginho from going backward. But Arteta could not allow Jorginho to play his football backward. And that was why he would be able to score the goal he scored last match. So, to change Jorginho from such a sluggish player to a fast pulling player, he's the best coach. But Graham Potter has no formation to start with. He has no formation. He's still dwelling on what he came to meet with Thomas Tuchel. That playing back football, going backward. If you go backward, you need to do what you call counter. And the people you are playing with are not coming out to attack you.
Thank you.
Are still defending.
Thank you.
So
Thank you very much.
To offer.
Thank you very much. So still talking about some stories before we bounce. Mohamed Elneny has extended his contract with Arsenal to 2024. Alejandro Garnacho, the young star from Argentina, eligible to play for Spain too, is set to sign a new 5-year deal with Manchester United. He's 18. He's out of contract in 2024. And the story is that he's set to sign a new contract with United. And of course, he's going to get some progressive increase in his salary. Well, Brydn, this young star, joined United in 2020 from Atletico Madrid. He's been a fantastic performer. And you see how he plays. Clearly, he's one for the future.
Yeah, I agree. Decent footballer. That's the thing about Manchester United. Always get to find one decent footballer from the ranks.
Especially attackers.
Yeah, attackers. From Rashford to Greenwood to Garnacho. Decent footballer. I remember during the preseason tour...
You didn't mention Gabriel Obertan.
Who's that?
Ravel Morrison.
Please, Mariz. let's be serious. We're talking about serious stuff.
All right, well, here's the story before we bounce. PSG are preparing to forget their mistakes. Go back to Thomas Tuchel. Beg him to come back to PSG. What do you make of that story?
Yeah, it would be decent because you look at coaches available. Garcia has not really worked for them. They've been losing games and winning some. It seemed like same old problem they've had. Before now, it was all about stability in the middle under the new coach, Christopher Garcia, but it's not really worked out for them. And I think Thomas Tuchel has been decent. Before now, it was a question of if he's won anything, but it took Chelsea to really win something at the Champions League, winning that Champions League. And Paris Saint-Germain are looking forward to winning the Champions League. Maybe the dynamism that comes with Thomas Tuchel could work for them moving forward. I think he's a decent coach. Other option could have been Zidane, but many clubs are so uncertain about what Zidane brings to the table. At Real Madrid, it was all about working with the big stars, and the big stars were doing the magic, and he was arranging and settling things within them. But other clubs, he might not be exactly like that. Thomas Tuchel, decent coach for me.
All right, 09022231011 and 0817624855 for looking to bounce. But heading back to Facebook, Yubi Akang says, why did Nigerian Football League divide into 2 groups? Well, I'll tell you, Yubi Akang, the plan is to make sure that we finish the season early enough so we can get in tandem with CAF's calendar. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Brydn. That's it for the show this afternoon. We'll come back later tomorrow. Well, how is evening going to be, Brydn? Are you hosting me?
I'll try to get my secretary to see what can happen.
I know. When they call you Dogo, they're not joking. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the show. We'll do this again later tomorrow, 7:30 to 8 in the morning. And of course, 3 to 4 later in the afternoon, we talk about the big breaking and trending